What's going on, y'all? It's your boy June Archer here, the Winner Circle on thisis50.com. My guest today took an injury that put her on the sidelines and turned it into an opportunity to coaching on the sidelines. Please give it up for Miss Collette V. Smith. Welcome to the show. How you doing today?
I'm doing great.
You're looking good.
Thank you.
Feeling good?
Feeling good. Feeling ready to go somewhere. Do something.
Do something.
Light something else
Make
up.
some magic happen.
Yes, sir.
So I want to start by saying we just came off of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And you are a defensive coach, the mindset.
Yeah.
So for you, because I've been getting a lot of, oh, that game was boring. I could have watched paint dry. I had a better time, a bit more entertained. But for me, and nothing against you, you are with the Jets. I'm a New England Patriots guy.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Turn this off. Let me get up out of here. No, let me go.
So for you, to watch that game, for you might have been something different. Your perspective might have been something different. I want to hear from you how you viewed the game, being such a low-scoring game. Was it exciting for you because the defenses were so on point because it was checkers, or was it really, as people are saying, a really boring game?
To me, as a coach and a former player, I love the game because it was a straight-up defensive game, and I like that. I like defense crushing. I really wanted to see more from Ndamukong Suh and Darnold with that internal pressure. We didn't pull it off. Not that I'm a Rams fan, I just didn't want the Patriots to win.
Of course,
Point-blank period.
Of course you don't.
Right.
We're in the same division, so I don't understand that.
Yeah, and then all due respect, because I was there in Atlanta during the Super Bowl, all the stuff going on, I didn't really get to watch the game the way I usually do.
Right.
So I have it recorded. I have my football notebook out, and I'll be breaking down that game, when I get a minute. I've just been hitting the ground running ever since.
That's dope. So you started out with the Sharks playing football in the women's league.
Right.
And the injury put you on the sidelines. What made you want to even play professional football?
Well, for the same reason that anybody wants to. Any kid, any guy. A man doesn't get asked that question.
Right.
Why'd you want to play football? What makes you want to play football? The same thing's applicable to me. Same difference. So I grew up, little black girl in Queens, always loving football. My dad and I would watch the games, and I was never allowed to play. So my brother played. He wasn't that good, and I'm thinking let me put some pads on. Let me get out there with the Pop. There was a Pop Warner team called the Long Island Tomahawks that I wanted to play for, and I wasn't allowed to. So my whole life I wanted to play, but was never allowed. So I found football when I was 42 years old. So I was sitting on my couch smoking a Newport, drinking a 40 ounce. Wow. Colt 45. And I was messing around on the computer because I happened to have time. And I was looking around the computer, and this kind of just fell into my lap. Right. And I thought to myself, well, you got it. First of all, I was like, you're kidding me. Women's pro football, you're kidding me. We're not allowed to play. We're not supposed to play. I had even drank the tea, believing that we can't because society said we couldn't. So when I saw this, I was thinking to myself, wow, I got to go try out for this team. I'm probably not going to make the team, but if I don't go do this, I'll regret it when I'm 50 and 60 and 70 years old. So I said, I'm going on Saturday morning.
Now that's a life lesson because at 42, some people, depending on their trajectory, depending on their history, what they've done, their journey, they've kind of went about life haphazardly, probably found a job, probably getting ready to retire in their early, maybe late 40s. But you found a way to find a dream of yours and go after it at 42. How important is it for people who are sitting on the couch now doing exactly what you were doing, saying to themselves, what kind of advice do you give them? Say, you know what? At 42, it's not too late. At 40, because some people think at 40, life is over. At 40, it's not too late to go out and try something different to live your dreams. What do you say to that person sitting on that couch?
Interestingly enough, I was saying I probably won't make the team, but I still knew I was going to go. Right. So my point is to everybody out there, get up, do it. Don't limit yourself. The world will limit you enough. Why would you limit yourself? Right. Right? So I'm just a big believer in, if you want to go do something, literally go after it. Get up and go do it. And I got to tell you, when I got up that morning to go, first of all, I was not happy about getting up that early on a Saturday morning. And it was going to deter me. And I laid in bed for a second saying, Collette, I'm tired. I'm not going to this. And I laid there for another second and I bounced up like, there's no way. There's no way I'm not going. So I got up, drove out to Brooklyn, and I remember seeing 45, 50 women in full equipment, like helmets, pads, cleats, on a football field, and you could hear them yelling, down, set, hut, and you would hear them hitting each other, and I was like, whoa!
You're like, I'm here,
and
I'm ready.
And all of a sudden, I went from, I'm probably not gonna make the team to, I'm making this team today.
Wow.
So I've been empowered ever since then. So pretty much football saved my life. I'm a 5-time rape survivor. Currently, I'm an ambassador for the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence.
And I want to talk about that.
Yeah, man.
Because that's super important, especially for the Me Too movement and what's going on. How important is it to have organizations like this and you being a brand ambassador to kind of speak to women who are being kind of put in these situations only to feel like there's no way out?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in that situation, I felt like there was no way out. I mean, it went from, being raped by my uncle, by my aunt's husband when I was a freshman in Tuskegee, off campus, and that moving on to after that happened, dating abusive men. Not feeling worthy, not feeling good enough. So if somebody gave me a nice moment, I took it and was like, oh, he's gonna be great to me. Only to he took advantage of me the whole time. And I never felt like I could get out back then. And I can tell you one thing, after playing football for 3 years and then coaching my women's team for 4 years and coaching with the Jets in 2017, I guarantee you that shit ain't happening today.
Right.
No more. So for me, it's very important for us to find our inner strength. It's in there. We gotta dig for it, and go dig for it. You can go dig in the closet for a pair of your shoes.
Right.
Then dig for some inner strength.
Now with the whole R. Kelly thing and the empowerment, and also what's happening to young women, like it happened to you, do you feel like? Because I'm a very big advocate of the village and the village concept. Do you feel like the village failed you at Tuskegee University when that happened?
Well, you know what? It wasn't on Tuskegee's dime. Like it wasn't. I visited my aunt out of town. My aunt lived in Atlanta, Georgia. So I would go visit my aunt on weekends. And that's where that happened. Tuskegee actually was trying to help me. My father had called up a counselor there, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was like, I ain't talking, I'm fine, but I wasn't. So actually Tuskegee tried to do as much as they could for me.
Right.
And I'm going back to 1987. It's a long time ago. We've come a lot farther since then. But they were on the front line. Now, what did fail me was my family. So all of my aunts, cousins.
Right, that part of the
village. That part of the village failed me. And that was very uncomfortable to me, and I was very uncomfortable and confused because see, grandma's house down south was my second home. So you figure if I go down to grandma's house,
it's a familiar, safe space.
It's another safe space. It's supposed to be. How about I roll up in there and the man that raped me sitting at the table and everybody's passing them cornbread and collard greens, fried chicken. I'm like, what's going on here? So, and then I love my grandma, I love my other aunts and uncles and my cousins.
Right.
But how are we all with this guy, and we all know he raped me. So I was very conflicted for a lot of years.
And that is where the conflict for me happens. Who knows? Has there been dialogue? Has there been conversation? If so, why is this person sitting at the table? Why are we all cool with it? Because I've interviewed women who said, my mother told me, keep quiet, we should just be glad that we have a man in the house. Telling them, Mom, your boyfriend raped me.
Yeah.
Right, so for me, how do we speak to young women at Tuskegee, at Morgan, at Howard, at whatever universities in our nation right now who are facing the same thing, that are trying to get the strength that you have to stand up? And what was the moment that you took to say, something's not right, and who listened to you? Because sometimes young women...
they weren't listening, especially when you go old folk down south, It's like, oh child, it's okay, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. So I heard that for many, many years. And, so I listened to that, I followed that, but I knew something wasn't right, but I never spoke up on it.
Right.
Fast forward football, I found this inner strength. That was my vehicle to find my inner strength. So that works for me. I can now sit here and say, you know, if something don't feel right, it isn't.
It's very important.
If something don't feel right, it isn't. And leave or say no, get up, call somebody. Today, we're not taking no shorts. No shorts.
But Collette, there are young women who feel like if I say something, I'll break up my family. If I say something,
that's what I felt too.
I'll be told that I'm looking at it differently. Maybe I didn't. Maybe that's not really what happened. Like,
yeah, and that's the problem that we all have to deal with. But it's, you know what? I regret not speaking up sooner. Because I was scared to speak up because I was like, oh my God, my family, I'm gonna split them up. My aunts are gonna be mad at me, grandma's gonna be mad.
Right.
People are gonna be like, oh boy, here goes Collette again, causing a problem. Meanwhile, it wasn't me that caused the problem. I'm just speaking up on what happened, and the guy's right there, and you're passing them cornbread. Really? So I encourage young girls, I encourage young women to use your voice. You know what? It's easy to stand with the pack. It is hard to stand alone in your truth and your values. I tell you one thing, when you stand alone for the right reasons, it's the best feeling in the whole world.
It speaks volumes.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the Believe in You organization that you have. Tell us a little bit about that and what inspired you to start that.
So Believe in You Incorporated is a company that I started in 2017. After I finished up with the Jets, I wanted to empower our Black youth. I started doing speaking engagements, and I would visit schools, and some schools where the kids don't look Black, you walk into that school, it was welcoming. It was bright lights and shiny and warm hugs and kisses.
Right.
You go to a Black school in the hood, complete opposite.
Very desolate, very dark.
It's almost as if we are being prepared to be comfortable in prison. So I found and felt it's my duty to be there for my people, our community. So Believe in You Incorporated is about having kids know never to give up, to believe in yourself, even when nobody else will. Believe in yourself, make strides. You know, in football, you gotta practice, scheme, eat right, so you can operate well on that field. Well, how about we do that in life? People say, you know, Collette, you were a pro football player. You were a pro coach in the NFL. I'm the first Black female coach in history of the National Football League, so yes.
You heard?
So
the first Black, what should say, African-American female to coach in the National Football League.
Word.
A league that isn't always welcoming, and we don't own much in that league, but Collette taking that opportunity from Coach Bowles.
Yes, sir.
And taking it by the reins and really showing not only African Americans all over the nation, but young women of color that you can be places where you weren't traditionally welcomed.
Correct. Absolutely. That made me feel so powerful. It's almost like, did I say almost? It definitely was like I was wearing a superhero cape.
Wow.
Once I started believing in myself, you know, and took those leaps and speak up and say, listen, this is what I want to do. I don't like this play, let's change it to this, or let's change person. I mean, just speaking up feels so good.
Right.
But here's the important part. You gotta do your research.
Gotta do your homework.
I don't want you just speaking up all willy-nilly, not knowing facts. Let's do our research. You know, always be prepared. Go the extra mile, be prepared. And as a Black woman, as a person of color, we have to be more prepared than the next guy. So you know what? I'm down with that, no problem.
But not only were you African American, not only you were African American female, you're a female in a male-dominated business. How were you able to overcome obstacles that we may not have seen or haven't heard from? Because some people will watch and say, I never even knew that there was a Black woman as a coach.
Right.
What were some of the obstacles that you had to overcome, and what are some of the obstacles that still lay ahead of you that you are willing to fight head on because of everything you've been through up to this point?
Well, I'll tell you an interesting story. I don't think I've ever said this story publicly. The Jets were playing the Detroit Lions, the game in Detroit. I of course, had my own locker room, right? So I get ready, I'm all jetted, coached up, and I want to go walk out on the field just to take it all in and look at the stadium. I walk out there through the tunnel in Detroit. There was a Black woman and there were 3 white men. I walk through the tunnel, the black woman notices me, and she's like,
yes.
girl. Like, you know, that respect.
Right.
She knew who I was. The white guys didn't have a clue, nor did they care. So she's doing this to me. I introduced myself to her. I gave her a hug. I said, thank you so much. And then I was just looking at the stadium. One of the guys said to me, what do you think of this stadium? I said, oh, it's pretty small. I thought it was going to look a lot larger, you know, and I thought it was going to be bigger.
Right.
I don't know if the guy took offense to that or not, but he just said, yeah, well, you know, it's better than New York State. And I was like, yeah, well, listen, they're all different. I'm enjoying being here. I walk away. And the woman said to them, you know, she's the first female coach in Jets franchise history. And the guy said, one of the men said, yeah, right. Excuse my French, she's probably a fucking cheerleader. Wow. Now, I was walking away. He said it because I know he wanted me to hear it. I was walking away. I put the brakes on real quick. I just stopped. They're behind me. I just stopped. I paused for a minute, like, really?
Did I hear what I think I just heard?
Exactly. Because here, you know, your mind is playing tricks on you. You know,
right.
He
you want to be sure. You want to be sure.
And so I put the brakes on, stopped and paused, and then I turned around and I heard him go, oh shit, she's coming back. I walked right up to the guy and I said, what's your name, sir? And you know what's funny? I don't know his name to this very day because it wasn't important to me. I just wanted to let him, I wanted to speak to him.
Right.
Eye to eye. He told me his name and I said, my name is Collette Smith. Coach Collette Smith. Defensive backs coach, New York Jets.
Bang.
Boom. And I then turned to walk away and he started profusely apologizing. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I looked back at him and I said, yes, you are. You should be. I said, but you have a great day. I want to say some other stuff, but I'm representing the Jets. So I'm like, I can't go there. So, but I mean, there are obstacles like that. And that's just one of many.
Right, but it takes grace
like
though. I think to add to that question, in order to overcome those things, takes grace.
Yeah.
It takes a certain level of professionalism and pride to say, you know what, I can't really stoop to your level, as our past First Lady said, when they go low,
we go high. Yeah, so for me, I wanted to go high, even higher,
right,
to prove a point, you know, and let them know I heard you. I heard you, and I have enough guts and inner strength in me to come back to you, look at you eye to eye, man to woman, and question you.
That's huge.
So, you know, I want more women to stand up for themselves. I want more men to just respect us. Right. How about that?
Super
Why
important.
do I have to keep fighting all the time? I don't want to fight.
I
don't want to fight. You know what I'm saying? I want us all to be equal. So how about men start treating us equally and with respect? And the very few, I'm going to be optimistic here and say the very few that don't follow that,
right,
women are going to stand up for themselves.
From sitting on that couch to Queens, playing for the women's professional Sharks, starting your own companies, talking to women, empower women, to coaching the New York Jets.
Yeah.
What is left? What's in store for you now?
Wow, there's a lot. So I'm using my platforms. My platforms are used now for me to be more powerful in a good way. So my platforms are being a female professional full tackle football player, first female coach New York Jets, first black woman to ever coach in history of the National Football League. I'm using that to visit more schools. So my reach is going to be bigger and deeper because I'm going to push forward and work forward. I have a book coming out soon. That'll be coming out, I'm hoping by April, my birthday in April.
Well, we're going to speak that into existence.
Yeah,
that book
April.
is going to be coming out this year, 2019. Yeah. We'll say spring. So
Give me a little room.
That gives you a little room. Who's the best defensive player in your mind to play the sport?
Wow. Well, you know, Ronnie Lott.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ronnie Lott, baby. Quick, fast, speed, hands.
What about my man Sanders, though?
I like Deion. I want him to tone down with his clothes, though, a little bit.
Deion, like, he picked up the suit from Steve Harvey. When I ain't mad
at him. Back in the day.
I love you, Deion.
I love you too, Deion. But yo, let me dress you. But he's a bad dude too. That's definitely a bad dude.
Best defensive team in the NFL last year.
Ooh, last year? That's a tough one for me because I got a few, but I want to go back deeper than last year.
Okay.
I want to talk about the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, Legion of Doom.
Woo! That made me very proud. And at that time, I was a player. I looked up to the Seattle Seahawks. I would watch their training camps. You know, they have these videos. So I would watch their tackling techniques, you know, their speed, their agility drills to be a better DB.
Those guys were sharp.
Woo-wee!
In your best football analogy, for the person who's looking to get out of a rut, get over a speed bump, go through a brick wall to get to college, finish college, trying to get a job, trying to get through a marriage, trying to get through being raped or molested. In your best football analogy, what kind of advice?
Move the ball. Just move the ball. Move the ball. You know, I need an inch. It might be short. Move the ball. It doesn't have, I don't care if you get a first down, a touchdown, just move the ball. In other words, start. Start. Got to start somewhere. You know, moving chains, move the ball, let's go. I'm getting goosebumps. I want to play right now.
Listen, we had the pigskin in here. We probably do. Listen, where can we find you? Where can we follow you? So that people know exactly what you're doing and what you'll be doing for the rest of the year, and where they could get that book when it comes out. Give them the website.
Yeah. So you can find me on my website at believeInYouInc.com. That's believe the letter N, the word Y-O-U, Inc, short for incorporated. So believeInYouInc.com. I'm on Instagram at Collette V. Smith. You can find me on Twitter at CocoV28, and always on Facebook or LinkedIn under Collette V. Smith.
Listen, all you young ladies, whether you black, Hispanic, polka dot, other, doesn't matter. You can believe in yourself far before anyone else believes in you, and it's never too late to get off that couch to go after your dreams. This is Collette V. Smith. It's your boy June Archer here at the Winner Circle. Peace.